Sonal, you did wrong.
Me, I've apologized, Susan. However, it's not my fault, but I'm still apologizing. So how many times do you want me to bend on my knees? I won't. It's really petty. Your MC screwed up.
I don't give a shit.
Neither do I. But usinita punda ni wewe.
Unaita nani punda?
I'm on Wikipedia, bitch.
I don't
Wikipedia.
fake.
Are you on Wikipedia?
Yeah, I am. Go and search.
Sonal, who the fuck are you?
I am generally. My name is Maharani.
Sonal, you're a bitch.
Hello beauties, welcome back to my channel. I am Musha. If you are new here, welcome and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Today we will be reviewing and recapping the episode 6 of the Real Housewives of Nairobi. Yes, I know I've been late, but your girl was down with a cold which later turned into an upper respiratory tract infection. So if you are in Accra especially, I would say get back to wearing masks because it's very, very important. That is why I've delayed. And most of the episode I watched them and wrote them down. So if you want me to recap those past episodes, tell me in the comment section below, and your wish as my command, I'll do it for you. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out.
So the episode began with Mine going to a bowling arena with her husband to go and play some bowling, and she invited Lisa to tag along. So she and her husband are the first people to arrive. They get there, they start chilling, waiting for Lisa to come, and Lisa arrives. You could see that she was happy to also like spend some time with Mine, because the last time she and Mine hung out, you remember, all that Mine was talking about was sex. So she realized that with this being an outer space, she will be able to get to know Mine more. And this is where she meets Mine's husband. And this girl couldn't keep her thoughts to herself. Like, I would say Lisa is very messy. Lisa is messy. She's petty. Because immediately Mine introduced Lisa to her husband, Lisa said, "I thought you were fake. I thought Mine is faking a man. I thought Mine is not married. She was just covering up being a baby mama with her husband, always talking about her husband." So she didn't believe that Mine really has a husband. You could see that Mine's husband was taken back a little, and he was like, this girl is petty. Because this is not something you would have to tell someone or a friend when they introduce you to their husband. It's not done anywhere. And she went further to ask them how long they've been together. And Mine's husband answered that they've been together for 10 years and they've been married for 7 good years. And you could see that Lisa was surprised. She didn't understand how Mine is able to get a husband and for them to live for that long. And personally, I feel Mine is very good. She's a good person. She just has her guards up. And she even said it herself that when she meets you, she's very high up there. But as you get to know her, she allows you into her space. This is why she first introduced them to her daughter, then now to her husband, because she wants the ladies to get to know her. So they decide to go and play the bowling, but before that, Mine and Lisa go on a bet. For the bet, Lisa said if she wins, she's going to give Mine an etiquette class. And she told Mine's husband that Mine is always late and lacks some etiquette. So that is why she's offering Mine etiquette class. And I was like, Lisa is really, really rude. Because how can you say this to someone's husband? Even if you want to say something like that to Mine, you can say that to Mine when her husband is not around. It was like she was doing everything in her part to degrade Mine in the eyes of her husband. That is how I see it. I think she didn't understand how Mine, being that young, has been able to maintain a relationship, and she being that old has not been able to maintain a relationship. That is what I was saying. So it was like she was projecting her insecurities on Mine and her husband. But Mine's husband laughed it off, and Mine also said if she wins, then she's going to help Lisa get a man, because Lisa really needs a man, and the cobwebs down there needs to be cleared. So they go ahead, they play the bowling, and Mine wins. That means Mine is the one going to look for her husband for Lisa, and I'm proud of that, because Lisa needs somebody in her life. Because some of the things she was saying at that bowling place when she met Mine's husband are too wild for an older person to say to a younger lady or a younger family. The next thing, we see Dr. Catherine, who is the replacement of Dr. Maria. She was introduced in the last episode. She's a real estate owner, and she's also launching her own winery. So for now, I would say she's a businesswoman, a mother, a wife, and yeah, living life. That is how I'll put it. So we see her at the tennis courts with her daughter, spending some bonding time, and realized that she had invited Susan and her daughter as well. As we know, she's already friends with Susan. Yes, she knows Susan before she met Susan at Mine's event in the last episode. So they met to catch up. And during the catch up, the children were playing tennis, and she and Susan went to sit at the lovers' bench to talk. During their talking, Susan said she had planned something for Dr. C. Since Dr. C will be launching her winery, she had proposed Dr. C's winery to this seller called Art Crafts. Yes, it's a place where they sell all these exotic wines so that Dr. C's wine can also be presented and sold there. So she's inviting Dr. C and the other ladies to come, have fun, and also help Dr. C get her bag. Dr. C accepted the invitation. They sat, they talked, and the conversation went back to Mine. And Dr. C asked Susan what is her problem with Mine. And all that Susan could talk about was class, was about how Mine is low class and she wouldn't sit back and let any low class come for her high class friends. And you could see that Dr. C was taken back. Dr. C has already met Mine, and from what I can see, she likes Mine because I think Mine represents a younger version of herself. So she really, really loves Mine. So whatever Susan said, Dr. C didn't really take it into action. Like she didn't really believe in what Susan was saying because she was like, Mine's event was not about the food that they were all talking about. There was no food, there was no drink. It was about food for the mind. It was about art. It was about Mine expressing and showing them a part of herself that they are claiming she is always doing. So Mine is trying to prove to them that she's normal with them and how she acts are different. But it's like they are all airheads, so they didn't understand. Only Dr. C understood. And Susan kept talking. You listen to some of the things she said.
So you can't ruin a 7-course meal. My friend had an 8-course meal with dessert. Then she had samosa. I will not allow some low-level woman to bully anyone. Not for now, not myself.
Like at this point, I have nothing to say about Susan's classist comments that she has been making. Like, I'm tired, girl. Let the beef go. The beef is not beefing at this moment. The beef is not working. The drama you are trying to create is not given. It's like you want to be centered, you want to be the one to carry the show based on this drama, but it's not given. At the end, everybody's talking about how Mine rather acts and not you. So I don't know where it's going. So in the next scene, we see Dr. C at her house in her garden. She's gardening. This is when we see Lisa arrive. Dr. C shows Lisa around her house. They sit, they talk, they bond. Then they go to the out patio to sit and have a lunch. During the lunch, Dr. C asked Lisa about her thoughts on Mine's event. And all that Lisa could say is that Mine is fake. And you see, Dr. C was kind of taken back, and Dr. C was like, why? And Lisa said, when I say Mine is fake, I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about her wigs. And I'm like, here we go again. Why is it that white women can't leave black people's hair out of their mouth? Leave black ladies' hair out of your mouth. Lisa, always Mine's wigs are cheap, Mine's wigs are fake, and all those things. Vera also wear wigs. So why don't you go for Vera? Susan wear wigs. Susan wigs sometimes are not wigging at all. They are stiff, but you never go for Susan. Always it has to be Mine. And personally, apart from episode 1, I would say Mine's wig are always nice and classy, and they look very, very good, well blended. So I don't see Lisa's problem. And Dr. C was like, hair doesn't define who a person is. Hair is just hair. And even she herself, she is bald because she has alopecia. This is where Almighty Muzumbu, Lisa was like, what is alopecia? And I was like, girl, shut up. You can't tell me with how highly educated you are, you don't know about alopecia. Even if you don't know, since you were talking about hair, like it should click in your mind that it can be loss of hair, it can be something. But no, she was looking at Dr. C as if, what are you talking about? You could see that she was clueless, she had no idea, like the girl was blank. This is where I understand that I don't want to annoy anybody, but that statement of damn blonde Lisa was giving it to the T. She was really behaving like a damn blonde. So Dr. T tried to educate Lisa on alopecia and also told her that in her culture, bald women are seen to be rich women, successful women. So she's representing who she is. Before Lisa later in her confessionals was like she likes Dr. C because Dr. C's hair shows that she's bold, she's mature. And I'm like, Lisa, can you just stop talking about people's hair? It's giving fetish at this moment. Because why is it that whenever you have to talk about somebody, it has to be hair? Why? Do you have a fetish with hair? Oh, girl. So after having a meal with Dr. C, Lisa joined Dr. C because it was the day of Susan's event. The first person to arrive at the cellar was Susan, and as usual, Susan was looking good. The theme for the party was casual, so you could see that it was just a sip and talk. That is how I see it. Wine tasting, sipping, and just talking and vibing. And she came looking good. She came to sit down. It didn't keep long, then Susan arrived. So Susan and Sonal were sitting there talking because they started tasting the wine because the ladies were delaying. This is where we see Lisa and Dr. C also arrive. Susan introduced Dr. C to the seller's CEO. They went and talked about it, and she bagged a place for her wines at the cellar, and she was happy. So the ladies were celebrating, bonding, chit-chatting, drinking, having fun. This is where we see Vera arrive, and Vera arrived giving Sonal the cold shoulder and was hugging everybody else. And I'm like, what is her problem? Then I remember that in the last episode, Sonal wasn't there for Vera's baby shower. So all the information she had them from Susan. And she told Vera in the last episode that Sonal told her that the MC asked them to buy their own wine. And Vera was like, that is not true. There was enough champagne to go round, and even some were left. And Lisa also confirmed it. But I don't understand why Vera is giving Sonal rather the cold shoulder, and not Susan, who came to tell her about that. Is giving misplaced aggression. Because girl, it's not Sonal who made that comment. Sonal wasn't even there. So how did Sonal know? So Sonal brought up the situation and asked Susan, weren't you the one who told me this and this and this and this? And I asked Vera about it, and it's like Vera is angry. And Susan was like, yes, I told you that, but it wasn't from a bad place. I told you that that was before Vera came, and it was to say that the MC wasn't really good at his job. It wasn't to say that the event wasn't nice. The event was nice, and there were a lot of drink. She understands it, but she doesn't understand why Sonal has to come and tell her that Sonal is being a bitch. And I'm like, girl, the person you have to get angry at is Susan, because Sonal wasn't at your event. Susan was the one there, and she went to rattle this nonsense or this whole crafted lie to Sonal. So Sonal telling you is even a good person. So I don't see why she's angry at Sonal rather. And Sonal was like, okay, if you feel offended, then sorry. Sonal apologized one. Vera was just talking. Sonal apologized again. Vera was just talking. Sonal apologized the third time. Vera was just talking. And Susan and everybody is trying to pacify Vera. And what was annoying me was that Susan asking Sonal to apologize. Sonal has apologized 3 times. And I liked how Sonal stood up for herself and said that she's not going to kneel down to beg Vera. Because she will not. She didn't do anything bad. And even with that, she has apologized. Because she doesn't know whatever the situation is. She was told and she asked. So she doesn't see why Vera is angry at her. And she has apologized, and it's not her fault. So if Vera expected to kneel down and apologize again, she's not going to do it. This is where we see Vera take her bag and leave. And that event comes to an end. So the day for the wine luncheon comes, and we see Dr. C arrive at the place first. And the theme for the party was Bohemian style. And I would say the theme was given. Like the decor was given the theme. Everything was brown with a little bit of green, with a little bit of gold. Like it was really giving Bohemian style. And I would say that she really did put an effort into planning this event. The first person to arrive, to everybody's surprise, was Mine. And Mine came in looking extremely nice. I would say for this event, I'll give the best dress to Mine. Mine was looking very nice, very sweet, very how do I put it? Like she was looking very nice. Like as she herself said, she was looking like a bottle or a glass of wine. in that red dress. She looked very, very good. So she comes, Dr. C meets her, and Dr. C is surprised. Like, all the ladies have been saying that Mine is late, bringing drama, trying to create attention. But Mine is the first one to arrive at her event. And she, in the last episode, was late to Mine's event. So if Mine is really as petty as they say, then Mine would have arrived late to her event. But no, Mine is the first person, and she was on time and on theme. So you could see that she was really happy that she trusted her own judgment and didn't believe in what the remaining of the ladies were saying about Mine. So she and Mine sit, they chat, they talk, and she even told Mine that the words she hear on the streets about Mine are not good. And Mine was like, "Oh, you've been hearing negative stuff about me." And Dr. C was like, "Nairobi is like a bedroom. It's not even as big as a hall. It's like a small chamber bedroom. So whatever happens, one will get to know." But she's happy that she judged Mine for herself. So while they were talking, this is where we see Lisa and Susan arriving together. It means Lisa hitched a ride with Susan. When they arrived and Mine saw Lisa, oh, you know she was going to give Mine a lecture on why she was late. You could see that she was behaving like a child who for once did the right thing. Mine was really, really happy that she came before Lisa. And she gave Lisa an ear full of lecture on why she was late and why she shouldn't be late. You can see that, as she said in her confessionals, for once she was the teacher and she had to school them, and she really went ahead to really school them. But they had a chat, they were talking. This is where Sonal arrived, and Sonal arrived looking good. She was dressed nice, but I would say her attire wasn't giving bohemian per se. With the kitani on top, it was giving more Japanese. But I would say in all, she looked good, she looked wonderful. The ladies waited, other guests came to join, then they started the event. So the event started with the ladies learning how to do their own fizzy drinks, their own sodas. So they went into this room where they had to experiment, get to know certain things, have fun with the drinks, and create their own magic. So whilst they were doing that, Dr. C asked about Vera, and Susan was like, "Oh, she has not heard from Vera." And so now I was like, "She has not heard anything about Vera Sadaki." And I'm like, "Now you don't even know her surname. You people were all over Vera in the last 2 episodes. So what happened?" Because of this small argument, boy, I was wrong. The big argument was coming at the end of the episode, and it was buzzbuzz and fire everywhere. But hey, so Mine was like, what happened? Because you know Susan didn't invite Mine to that event. So Mine doesn't know what is really going on between Sonal and Vera. So Sonal narrated everything to Mine. And all that Mine was like, really? She cried. Then in her confessionals, this girl picked her champagne. As you always know, she drinks her champagne with a straw, only Mine style. She drank and she was like,
I'm just living my life, okay? It's a mess. These women are just a suckers.
and for once, I agree with Mine, because she's right. These ladies are a circus. The women behave as if they are in a circus. Like, they are all messy. And I feel like the only person who is like sensible, classy, and like has a good head on her shoulder is Dr. C at this moment. Because all of them talk about not judging and not doing it, but they all judge. They are all judgmental. Only Dr. C tries to embrace everybody and makes it fun for all the ladies, you know. Then the ladies finished preparing their drinks, they finished having fun, and it was late in the evening, so they had to go and have dinner. And the dinner set was in this open space. So the ladies sat down, and Dr. C had this thing where she placed like plates in front of every lady, because every lady had to bring a plate, yes, and talk about the things they want to change in their life going forward, their new inspiration and everything. And everybody gave their inspiration, everybody talked about the way forward. And this is where Susan used that opportunity to bridge her issue with Mine. So she apologized to Mine, and you can see that Mine was like, she already knew that Susan was trying to form the bridge between them, because Susan on that day wasn't being as catty as she usually is. And I agree with that. So finally, Susan and Mine are together. There is no fight, there is no issue between these two. This is where we see Vera arriving and she has a plate on her head. As everybody was saying, I was like, they said bring plates, they didn't say bring plates on your head. And her style wasn't really giving bohemian. For the Ghanaians that know, her style was giving Anas Ameria Anas with those curtains in front of her. Some of you may know him. He's a journalist, an investigative journalist, and this is how he dresses. Vera came late, and so Vera was giving Sonal the cold shoulder. Like she was angry with Sonal, and it was pissing me off. Cause Sonal is not your problem. If you really want problem, it's with Susan who went to tell Sonal that. Cause Sonal wasn't at your event. How did Sonal know that your MC said they have to bring? She said Sonal was being shady. No, Sonal was seeking information because she has heard something and she was seeking confirmation from you. But hey, she came, she sat down, they all had dinner. Then after the dinner, the lady went to sit by the fireside to sit, chat, and talk. During the sitting and talking, this is where Vera apologized for being late. And they asked why Vera was late. And Vera was like, she woke up not feeling well. So when she felt well, that's when she came. And I expected the ladies to give Vera the same response they gave to Mine when Mine came hours late to Sonal events because her father-in-law had died. And I was surprised they were all like, yeah, you are pregnant. And I was like, what the hell? What favoritism is going on here? Because if truly she wasn't feeling well, as she was not feeling well the other time to attend Mine's event, she should have missed out. She also told the same thing when Mine was hours late to Sonal's event. In her confession, she said Mine could have sat this one out. So she too could have sat this one out. How can you wait? You said you weren't feeling well, but you came well dressed with makeup, with all these curtains, drove to the location that I heard is an hour drive, and you come and you say that you weren't feeling well. That's why you were. The event started in the morning. This girl came late in the evening. You see, this is why I feel like they kind of give Vera some form of like privilege because she's pregnant, and it's getting annoying. Like I feel like she's always using her pregnancy as an excuse. And V is my girl. Like Vera is my girl. So like it's getting annoying as of this moment. Started going at Sonal, and she was like she didn't like Sonal coming to her and telling her that Sonal is a bitch. And Sonal said, I'm not a bitch. I am a boss bitch. Vera replied saying, a bitch is a bitch, a donkey is a donkey. And I was like, wow, this girl has punchlines for this. Like Vera really has punchlines. But as the arguments kept going, I didn't like whatever Vera said from then on. Like it's something that as a classic lady, you never say, you never do. To throw a woman's marriage in her life, to throw someone's mental health at her, like that is a no-go area. You just watch a bit of it.
Neither do I. But usiniita punda ni wewe.
Unaita nani punda? I'm
Look
on
at my
Wikipedia,
closet.
bitch.
I
I'm
don't
on
wear fake.
Wikipedia. Are you on Wikipedia?
Yeah, I
Who
am.
the
Go and search.
Sonal, who the fuck are you?
I am
Who the fuck
generally.
are
My
you?
name is
These
Maharani.
general-
Sonal, you're a bitch.
Like this makes me understand that Vera, in as much as she's my girl, she's petty and she's not a friend of anybody. Because she will use your situation against you. And this was what she was doing to Sonal. And being on Wikipedia is not an achievement. Anybody can write on Wikipedia. Being on Wikipedia is not an achievement. And she's like, who is the queen of Google? I have the numbers and this one. I'm like, girl, having numbers doesn't make you a queen. Having numbers doesn't make you anybody. Did we all realize that there was this TikTok girl who is verified? She's very popular. She organized a get-together and nobody came. Those who came weren't even a handful, or I'll say 1% of her followers. Like, girl, in this DNA age, people will support all your nonsense and just leave you stranded. So they're bragging about numbers, one bragging about closets, made me see how vain they are. Like, seriously. First, they were giving me classy ladies, but now I've realized that they are vain. And I agree with Dr. C. With the way Vera stood up to go against Sonal, I thought Vera was going to beat Sonal, but like the ladies came in between the ladies. And what annoyed me was Susan, who caused all this, was rather standing and like you could see that it was her fault. She was the one who went to spill. to Sonal, for Sonal with her big mouth to also go and ask Vera about it, for all these things to happen. And she rather is like she's disappointed in Sonal. And while Sonal was leaving, Sonal also had a jab at Vera, telling Vera that at least she didn't bleach to get her color. She was born white, so Vera should go and bleach some. When I'm like, oh girl, like why are you girls going at each other's mental health? Why are you girls going at each other's insecurity? Like, I really, really didn't like that. But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the fight has happened already. Some people are saying this fight was forced. Whether it was forced, whether it wasn't forced, whether the drama was needed, whether it wasn't needed, I'll say I enjoyed it. The episode was fun. Say Vera is my girl, so for Vera to be in such a mess, to go to this extent, and she not being sensible enough to know that it was Susan's fault and going after Sonal, it's giving misplaced aggression, and I'm not liking it for my girl at all. At this point, I'm disappointed in her. That is it. And she bragged during the fight saying that she's married. Like, girl, have you been watching Real Housewives? All those who brag about their marriage, in the next episode, in the next season or two, their marriage collapse. I hope that doesn't happen to you. And after going on Twitter and seeing some of the posts by Kenyans, I realized that even her husband is not that good. He already has a baby mama, as we know, and it means he's prolific on the streets. So I don't see why she had to brag about it. But hey, I hope that case never come for her. You know, the episode was fun. The episode was good. It was great. Also, do not forget to tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. It's because you guys are not being interactive. That's why I felt so cool. So you guys should be interactive in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Who is your favorite girl now? And let's have fun. That will be all for today's video. I am Mushia. Adios.
I'm just doing my best even though I'm so stressed out.